So real quick, think to yourself, what is your favorite hard drug? Now, hopefully you don't have an answer to that because we all know drugs are bad. But according to Tommy Lee, one of my favorite drummers from Motley Crue, one of my favorite bands, says that heroin is the best by far. And so if you don't know who Motley Crue is, you're in luck because I'm about to inform you on who and what Motley Crue is. So like I said, Tommy Lee said the best drug was heroin by far. And he also said in a podcast once that it got to the point with him with drugs where he would take cocaine to help him fall asleep. Like, he was just so far gone. And, these guys, non-stop drugs, non-stop sex, non-stop rock and roll. These guys were the bad boys of Sunset Boulevard and just the kings of controversy, and I'm going to talk about all of that today. Now, starting with the controversies, was the biggest one of their controversies all the time was their song lyrics. And the first song I'm going to talk about is called All in the Name Of, where on the Girls, Girls, Girls album, and the song starts off going, she's only 15, but she's the reason that I can't sleep. You say illegal, I say legal's never been my scene. And then later in the song, a bunch of times it says, before the chorus hits, for sex and sex I'd sell my soul. Now, the beginning portion of that lyrics is obviously a little bit controversial. And it took me a long time, trying to figure out the meaning of that because it's nowhere on the internet. But I had eventually found out that that beginning part about the 15-year-old is about Nikki Sixx, who's the bass player for Motley Crue. It is his ex-girlfriend, Tracy Lords. Now, Tracy Lords was a porn star in the 80s who lied about her age to get into the porn industry, and it was this whole case, and so basically that's just what the song's about. But the controversy doesn't start there. This is where we're gonna talk about the PMRC, which is the Parents Music Resource Center, and it was basically this organization that was formed in 1985, where a bunch of these parents banded together and were like, "Yo, the rock music it's mushing the brains of the youth. They're promoting violence and it's bad, and we got to stop it." And so the PMRC had this thing called the Filthy 15, which was basically like their initial list of songs that they wanted to try to censor, try to get rid of because of what it was promoting. And Motley Crue is actually on that list with their song Bastard, which is one of my favorite songs. And the specific part of the song that they were referring to is when they say, "Out with the lights and with a knife, out with his life, consider that bastard dead." And they were like, oh my gosh, promoting violence and all that. And they're not wrong for that. They're not it's not like a completely unjustifiable fear. But this was a thing in the 80s, with this rock music coming in. People were scared of the violence. They were saying that they weren't only promoting violence in their lyrics, but they were also acting it out on stage, which is honestly one of the reasons why I love Motley Crue so much, is their stage theatrics. If you've ever seen a drummer in a cage spinning upside down while playing the drums, that's Tommy Lee. And if you've ever seen a guy playing the bass while on fire, that's Nikki Sixx. And they just have this really unique style to them, and skulls and explosions and fire, all of that. And it's just really cool to me and really awesome to watch on YouTube and all that. But with the PMRC, Filthy 15, Violence, there's some other songs that got controversy with the PMRC is a Live Wire and stuff like that. Once again, one of their more popular songs. And one of their first controversies actually came from Shout at the Devil, which is a song on, I think, their second album. And, even Motley Crue was confused with that one because they were like, we're saying to shout at the devil, not with the devil. And then it was all the religion thing. And then they got to the point where Motley Crue was like, dude, we're not even religious. We don't even know what the Satan and all that. We were just talking about a person's inner devil, whether that be their stresses, anxieties, mental issues, whatever, they're fighting their inner devil, basically. So shout at that, suppress it, overcome it, basically. But that's basically the song lyrics. One of my favorite songs from Motley Crue is Kickstart My Heart, which is one of their most popular songs. You probably know it. You've probably heard it before in your life. You just didn't know it was, Motley Crue, Kickstart My Heart. The most recent example I heard was in the Battlefield trailer from a few months ago. I think Battlefield 2040. That was the most recent I remember hearing. But anyways, one of my favorite songs. And the songs is about adrenaline. And we all know what an adrenaline rush is. The adrenal gland is actually located above our kidneys, and it responds to stressful, exciting, threatening situations, and that's how we get the sensation of an adrenaline rush, which is literally what Kickstart My Heart is. It is meant to be an adrenaline rush, and the reason for that is, in the 80s, Nikki Sixx, the bass player, he was on heroin bad, he had it the worst, and he overdosed on heroin one night, and he was pronounced clinically dead for 2 minutes, and he's in the back of the ambulance, and the paramedic is a Motley Crue fan and recognizes him and gives him 2 shots of adrenaline to the heart, and he comes back to life. And so his heart was, he literally kickstarted his heart basically, and so that's the inspiration for the song, because after that happened, all the Motley Crue guys went to rehab. You know, they got off the drugs, got away from the girls and the fast cars, and so, you know, all of that, those 3 things, you know, drugs, girls, fast cars, and, you know, all adrenaline rushes, and they just, you know, stopped doing most of it. So they're like, okay, you know, how do we get that adrenaline sensation back? And that's the inspiration for the song. And if you ever need an adrenaline rush, I promise you, listen to that song. I'd consider this speech a success if at least one person listened to that song, whether it be before a football game or a race, whatever you're doing. I would think that's pretty cool if you guys listen to that song. But anyways, thank you guys for listening.